Hello everyone, this is Sandeep Kumar Sinha. Welcome back once again to my channel with a new topic, that is total utility, and learn the concept with a greater ease. जब मैं हूं आपके साथ तो डरने की नहीं है कोई बात, आराम से पढ़ेंगे और आसानी से सीखेंगे। तो चलो आज का टॉपिक शुरू करते हैं। टोटल यूटिलिटी। टोटल मीन्स सम टोटल, utility means satisfaction. It means total utility is the sum total of the utilities derived from the consumption of all the units of that commodity. Now the question arises, how to get the sum total of the total satisfactions derived from the consumption of those commodities? कैसे निकालेंगे? तो to explain it, the cardinal approach of measurement of utility is used to get the sum total of the satisfaction derived from the consumption of the units of a commodity. Now let's have a look at the board where I have drawn a hypothetical schedule that simply having the three columns. In the first column, number of units consumed. Number of second column, I have written here utility, but actually it is marginal utility. मैंने अभी तक marginal utility पढ़ाया नहीं है. Next वीडियो में मैं marginal utility के बारे में बताऊंगा और relationship with this total utility. Then I will explain this concept that is marginal. That's why I have written here only utility, that is the additional satisfaction of each and every single unit of consumption of that commodity, and the third column is of total utility. Now let's start explain the concept of the calculation, how to get the total. Suppose the consumer is consuming a certain units of commodity, and let the units of commodity consumed be roti. It's very easy to understand because everyone eats every day something and feels or observes something about the satisfaction that the consumer or the person gets. Let the consumer is having the consumption of the first unit of roti. At the time of first unit of consumption, what is the observation? Because of the fact he is hungry, therefore need for that first unit of roti is at its maximum, and therefore the consumer will get the maximum satisfaction from the consumption of first unit of that commodity, which is taken to be here roti. Means first unit, look at the schedule here now. First unit that gives, let it be 10 utils. This is simple hypothetical schedule. You can write down any number. Means utility can be expressed in number. That is the cardinal approach of measurement, and accordingly it is written that first unit gives 10 utils of satisfaction to the consumer. Now, after the consumption of that first unit of roti, what is the net result? The need for that another unit of roti desire, जो भी हमारा है दूसरी रोटी के लिए, वो घट जाएगा. क्यों? Why? Because need desire means some of the parts of our requirements are already fulfilled when I ate that first unit of roti. जब हमने पहली रोटी खाई तो भूख थोड़ी मिट गई, पेट थोड़ा भर गया, तो दूसरी रोटी जो आने वाली है उसकी जरूरत कम हो गई. And that's why the satisfaction that the consumer will get from the consumption of that second unit of the commodity would be less than the consumption of the first unit. जो फर्स्ट यूनिट से जितना satisfaction को मिला उससे कम मिलेगा, because the need for the second unit of roti is less, and that's why the second is giving only 8 utils of satisfaction. Let the second unit, that is 8, that is less than 10. Similarly, when the consumer has consumed the 2 units of roti, and when the third roti comes for consumption, then again the need for the third unit of roti is less than before. Desire is less than before, because again certain part of his requirement is fulfilled. पेट और भर गया, जरूरत हमारी और कम गई. जब जरूरत कम गई हमारी तो क्या होगा? Satisfaction कम होगा. That this will 5 units. Third unit gives only 5 utils of satisfaction. In this manner, as the consumer goes on consuming the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th unit of consumption, then what is the observation? The additional satisfaction goes on decreasing, घटता जाता है. this is 5, this is 3, this is 2, this is 0. Means at this, what is the observation? At this unit, 6th unit of consumption, the satisfaction, that is additional satisfaction, reaches to 0. ये कौन सी स्थिति है? खाना खा रहे हैं, पेट भर गया, अब हमें और रोटी की जरूरत नहीं है. वैसी स्थिति में क्या होगा? वी विल नॉट रिक्वायर एनी अदर यूनिट ऑफ दैट कमोडिटी, दैट इज रोटी. एंड दिस पॉइंट इज कॉल्ड द पॉइंट ऑफ कंप्लीट रिक्वायरमेंट और कंप्लीट फुलफिलमेंट ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट. मीन्स नाउ माई रिक्वायरमेंट हैज बीन ऑलरेडी फुलफिल्ड. I don't need any further unit of that commodity which is roti here. But beyond that unit of consumption, if further consumption is continued of that commodity, then the consumer will get negative satisfaction, which is written here, that is 7th unit gives the consumer minus 2 utils, that is negative satisfaction from that 7th unit is simply derived. When the consumer is consuming beyond that 6th unit of consumption, which is called the point of satiety or point of complete requirement or complete satisfaction for that consumer. मतलब क्या हो गया? ये हमारा, ये जो हमारा है, ये एडिशनल सेटिस्फैक्शन है एक एक यूनिट का. अब हम कैसे निकालेंगे टोटल? सपोज वी आर टू फाइंड आउट द टोटल सेटिस्फैक्शन. Then what we learned earlier, that it is the sum total of the utility derived from the consumption of all the units of a commodity. Now suppose the consumer is consuming only 1 unit of the commodity. सिर्फ एक यूनिट का कंजम्पशन अगर कंज्यूमर करता है, then what is the calculation? We will take only the satisfaction derived from the first unit of the commodity, that is utility of first unit would be taken for the calculation of total utility of 1 unit, which is here, that is 10. This is 10. This is 10. Now when we want to calculate the total satisfaction of 2 units of consumption, then what we'll do, that is we will add the first and the second satisfaction level. Means satisfaction derived from the first unit of consumption and the satisfaction derived from the second unit of consumption, which is 10 plus 8, that is 18 utils. And similarly, if the consumer is to calculate the total satisfaction of 3 units of consumption of that commodity, then what would we do? Add all the 3 satisfactions level of the 3 successive units of consumption, that is first unit, second unit and third, that is 10 plus 8 plus 5, that is 23 utils. In the similar fashion, हमें जिस भी यूनिट का, जितने भी यूनिट्स तक का टोटल सेटिस्फैक्शन निकालना है, उतने यूनिट्स का अलग अलग एडिशनल सेटिस्फैक्शन जो सिंगल है सबको जोड़ देंगे. देन वी गेट द टोटल सेटिस्फैक्शन ऑफ दैट यूनिट ऑफ कंजम्पशन ऑफ द कमोडिटी. सपोज द कंज्यूमर इज टू कैलकुलेट द टोटल सेटिस्फैक्शन ऑफ 6 यूनिट्स, देन व्हाट ही और सी विल डू? द फर्स्ट, सेकेंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ, 5th and 6th, all the 6 units satisfaction level would be added together to get the total satisfaction of 6 units, that is here it equal to 28 utils. Similarly, if the consumer is to get the total satisfaction of 7 units, then what he will do? Add all to get this, that is 26 utils of satisfaction. In this manner, we get the total utility that the consumer gets from the consumption of a certain number of units of that commodity used or consumed by him or by her. इस टोटल जब भी हम निकालेंगे तो कैसे निकालेंगे? सबको जोड़ के निकालेंगे. तो in the similar fashion, है ना, we can generalize it and write down a general formula. Suppose the consumer is consuming n units of consumption. N may be any natural number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, any number of units of consumption of that commodity is there. Then what is the general formula? We will simply add 1, 2, 3 and so on the last unit, that is the nth unit of consumption. We will add the satisfaction levels of all the units of consumption to get the total utility of in units of consumption of that commodity, which is can be written in the formula. Mathematical formula is there. Total utility N. N means that is N units of consumption, and this is the sigma. Symbol is this is sigma. I is this is the I part. UI. I have written here U. आगे हम फिर पढ़ेंगे MU भी लिखेंगे. Same utility here it is simply can be taken to be the additional satisfaction, means marginal utility. But here I have to explain the total utility without having a concept of marginal. Therefore, I have written here U. Means sigma means sum total, U means utility, I means the number of units of consumption. Minimum is 1, maximum is N. In the mathematical format, it can be written as the total utility is the sum total of the satisfaction of all the units of consumption of that commodity. Now look at the behavior of total utility during the consumption process. First, that is 10. मतलब फर्स्ट यूनिट का अगर कंजम्पशन करता है 1 यूनिट का, तो व्हाट इज द टोटल दैट इज इक्वल टू द एडिशनल सेटिस्फैक्शन ऑफ द फर्स्ट यूनिट ऑफ कंजम्पशन. When the consumer is consuming the second, that is 1 and 2, means when the consumer is consuming 2 units of consumption, then the total is 18. What is the difference? That is of 8. Means 8 units बढ़ गया, में total increased by 8 utils. Similarly, when the consumer is consuming 3 units, the figure is that is 23 utils. Again, the increase is 5 utils. Total increased, but less than before. पहले बढ़ा 8, अब बढ़ा 5, कम बढ़ा. Similarly, if the consumer is consuming 4 units of consumption, then the satisfaction total is 26 utils. What is the increase here? That is only 3 units. Compared to the previous figure, the increase is only 3 units. Means again the increase is there in the total satisfaction, but it is less than before. Again, 5th, 6th, what is the observation? Here 2, here 0, and here this is -2. Means total utility goes on increasing. What do we observe here about the behavior of total utility? As more and more units of a commodity consumed, total utility goes on increasing but at decreasing rate. It reaches to its maximum at a certain point, and then beyond that point, if further consumption is continued, then total utility decreases. That is all about the behavior of total utility during consumption. Now let's have a look at the total utility curve drawn here on the board. Look at here. On this y-axis, total utility is plotted, and on this x-axis, that is units of consumption, that is plotted. Now this figure is sloping upwards. It simply means that total utility goes on increasing. But look at the curvature. Curvature is this one. There are 6 figures in economics, and that is a tool of mathematics used here, graph. If the graph is of this shape, it simply means that the increase would be there but at a decreasing rate. So look at the slope of this total utility curve. It slopes upward, but it is of this shape. Means ये हमारा total utility बढ़ता जाएगा. As more and more units of a commodity are consumed, total utility will go on increasing but at decreasing rate, which is simply visible through the slope of this curve. Now it is reaching to its maximum. At this point, it is maximum, that is at this OQ1 unit of consumption. Total utility reaches to its maximum, and beyond that, if further consumption is continued, then total will decrease. Initially it was at OU1, now the satisfaction total is at OU2, means it decreased from this level when consumption increased from OQ1 to OQ2. This is all about the behavior that is looking similar. This is the schedule, this is the figure. दोनों हमारा है ये numerical example, and this is the figure with the help of which we can observe or simply write down the behavior of total utility during consumption of any commodity. The first behavior I have written it on the board. First one, total utility increases at decreasing rate as more and more units are consumed. जैसे जैसे अधिक से अधिक कंजम्पशन करते जाते हैं बढ़ता जाता है, but at decreasing rate. Now it reaches to its maximum. उसके बाद यहाँ मैक्सिमम पर पहुंचता है at a certain unit, and then beyond that, if further consumption is continued, then total will not increase, but it that is decreases. It simply means that is total utility does not increase forever. हमेशा ये नहीं बढ़ेगा, मतलब एक यूनिट ऑफ कंजम्पशन तक बढ़ेगा. टोटल यूटिलिटी विल इंक्रीज अप टू अ सर्टेन यूनिट ऑफ कंजम्पशन, एंड बियॉन्ड दैट यूनिट ऑफ कंजम्पशन इफ फर्दर कंजम्पशन इज कंटिन्यूड, टोटल सेटिस्फैक्शन decreases. That's all about total utility and its behavior during consumption of any commodity in this whole universe. In the next video, I will discuss about the marginal utility and its relationship with the total utility. I hope this video, this lecture video, it would be useful for you guys. ये आपके लिए बहुत बहुत useful होगा. And the simply, if you understood the concept very clearly, then please do like it, share it, and subscribe it. Also, press the bell icon so that you get the notification of my next video in time. Thank you.